Chapter 2. Lost Memories. No words could describe how she felt at that moment as Sima Yu laid on her bed, feeling choked by the multitude of complex emotions that welled up within her. After sighing for the 28th time, she finally accepted her newfound identity, and to accept her new useless body. But when she thought back to her previous self as the top assassin of the 21st century, she did not believe that she would not be able to carve out a path of her own niche even if she could not train and practice the way people did here. However, when she realized the type of personality that previous owner of her body had and the reason that had gotten her killed dawned upon her, she suddenly felt weak. It must be said that her body's previous owner was rather pitiful. She had only gone to bring some food to the capital city's most eligible young master, Marong, and when she was seen to be a pest and Marong An's lackeys had given her a good thrashing, holding nothing back as they kept scolding her, repeatedly ridiculing her and calling her trash. And the supposedly most cultured and refined, most eligible young master of the capital city had just watched on as she was badly thrashed up, and had continued with his merriment with the fawning beauties all around him. Her body's previous owner had been beaten to within an inch of her life, and when she was carried back to the general's residence, she saw her grandfather, Sima Lion, just managed to tell him she would exact her own revenge before she fell into a dead faint, and stopped breathing soon after. Although she had promised to take revenge for her predecessor, however you looked at it, this all started from her own actions. Who had asked the previous Sima Yu who kept pestering people to their breaking point until they felt extremely tired and suffocated? After appearing in front of the person whom had been relentlessly pestering you, it would be strange if that person didn't do anything at all. But that Marong actually watched on at the sidelines without any attempt to stop them. Well, do not worry, I will help you exact your revenge on those people, Sima Yu softly promised. However, this body of yours really can't cultivate. Those people are all geniuses of the Imperial Academy. If I can't cultivate, seeking revenge would be very troublesome. I can't even check your body now. Damn, these injuries are really bothersome. How long more would it take to recover? She lamented in exasperation. As her injuries were too heavy, after grumbling for a moment she felt exhausted and fell into deep slumber. However, she did not sleep well at all. Her brows were constantly wrinkled and her whole body was drenched in cold sweat. Examen Yu, so what if you are an unparalleled genius of the divine world? You will still die by my hands today and your whole Examen family can all go to hell and reunite there. Examen Yu, do you know what this is? This is a high-grade spirit artifact, the soul lamp lock. Once your soul is sucked inside, you can never reincarnate. Even if you want to destroy your own soul, you cannot do that. Haven't you always been suppressing me wherever you went? You can now take your time to enjoy this soul lamp lock I've specially prepared for you. Ha 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 ha. A shrill female voice suddenly rang in her head and her cackling slowly trailed off. Amidst a dense fog, Sima Yu saw a woman holding onto a lamp. You're missing a part of your soul. Even if you reincarnate, you won't remember anything from this life. Even your strength will not be restored. Try to repair your soul, see what kind of miracles you can create. Another voice echoed in this dense fog as the wind slowly stirred. Sima Yu, who asked you to be so accomplished and recognized? Today, boss is not around. Whatever complaints you have, you can directly complain to the King of Hell. These are the most advanced explosives. Dying by them can be considered your good fortune. Sima Yu, die. Sima Yu suddenly jolted awake, breathing heavily as she gasped for air. Her entire back was thoroughly soaked in sweat and her damp hair clung onto her cheeks as she felt her whole body tremble, not sure if it was from fear or anger. Young master, is everything all right? A maid knocked on the door and asked from outside. Sima Yu took a few deep breaths to calm herself down and replied, I'm fine, you can go. Yes, young master. After the maid replied and the footsteps trailed off, there was no further movement outside. After taking in a few more deep breaths, Sima Yu endured the pain that bore through her as she struggled to pour herself a cup of water. Her hands were trembling as she steadied the teapot and only after drinking 3 cups of water did she finally calm down. Thinking back on her dream, why were there 2 names? Sima Yu, Examen Yu, she murmured the 2 names. Who is Examen Yu? Why did her heart wrench in pain when this name was mentioned? After struggling back to bed, Sima Yu quietly stared at the antique mosquito net with her big eyes. Her mind kept replaying the memories of the dream she just had. Also, what did that strange voice mean and who was that woman? Who was this Examen Yu? The voices of the maids were getting louder as they approached her room. General, has fifth young master awakened? A slightly raspy elderly voice could be heard. General, the young master just screamed a moment ago, and when I inquired, the young master replied that he was fine and asked me to retreat. There's no sound of movement inside, he may have fallen asleep again. The maid replied. All right, I've got it. You two can go now. Yes, General. The door creaked open and Sima Yu quickly closed her eyes, only to hear the sound of footsteps slowly walking towards her, and stopped at the bedside. Well, enough of this pretense, I know you've woken up. Sima Lai looked at the person in bed who still had her eyes shut tight. She's been discovered. Sima Yu slowly opened her eyes and peered at the elderly man standing by her bed, watching him quietly. This was Dongchen Kingdom's strongest man. He looked exactly like her memories, a head of gray hair with an astute build and eyes full of vigor. He looked at her affectionately, however his eyes also reflected a tinge of distress. Does it hurt very badly? Seeing that Yu was quiet, he moved to sit by her bed gently as he asked her in a voice full of concern. Sima Yu nodded her head. It was really painful, so painful that it felt as if her bones were being crushed and grounded into powder. As if performing magic, Sima Lai flipped his hand and a jade bottle suddenly appeared in his hand. Sima Yu was startled. Although she knew that interspatial rings existed in this world, seeing it working before her still shocked her. In Sima Lai's hands was a jade bottle which he had retrieved from his interspatial ring. This is the second-tier medicinal pill that Master Shi refined. It would speed up your recovery. Quick, eat it and it won't hurt anymore. Sima Lai coaxed as he opened and a black pill rolled out from within and he stuffed it into Sima Yu's mouth in a practiced manner. As soon as she swallowed the black pill, a strong bitter aftertaste assaulted her mouth. Before she could say anything, Sima Lai quickly followed up by stuffing something sweet into her mouth. Master Shi said that the pill may be bitter but this is good stuff. It's a second-tier medicinal pill, so bear with it and you'll get better soon. Sima Yu was aware that elixirs with miraculous properties existed in this world. It was just like the Western pills from her past life, but its effects were so many times better than those pills. The types and varieties were many and myriad and they had all kinds of uses. For example, just like the one she just ingested was used to treat injuries, there were also others that helped regain spirit powers, those that helped regain strength, endurance and many others. The elixirs were also segregated into tiers. First tier, second tier, third tier and so forth. The first to third tiers were termed common grade pills, fourth to sixth grade, medium grade pills, while the seventh to ninth grade were advanced grade pills. Alchemists similarly had a ranking system, primarily divided into 3 ranks: rudimentary, medium and advanced. The efficiency of each pill also varied with each tier and were further divided 3 levels, namely low, medium and advanced. Needless to say, the higher the level, the higher the efficiency and that effectively equates to a higher price. Sigh, the previous soul did not really understand much of these as her mind was completely filled with faces of handsome men. Since she could not cultivate, she spent all her time and effort thinking of men. She only started 2 days of classes at the Imperial Academy and stopped attending henceforth. Sima Lai doted heavily on her and spoiled her silly, and even left the matter of attending school in her own hands, never once forcing his own opinions on her. Since she did not want to go to school, he did not force her to attend. However, this had in turn made her even more ignorant and her literacy and knowledge was stuck at the bare basics. Chapter 3. Enemy Encounter. Don't be upset, the matter of revenge can be put on hold. More importantly, wait till you've fully recovered and let your brothers escort you along when you go and to take your revenge. See who dares resist then. Whoever dares to resist will face their wrath. You can slowly savor the taste of returning those imbeciles the favor, and beat the living daylights out of them. Sima Lai heartily said when he saw that his dear granddaughter had not spoken a single word since and thought that she was still angry. This was his manner of coaxing her. However, grandfather, are you sure this is the right way to coax anyone? Wasn't this just digging a deeper pit than previously? Such encouragement would just spell more trouble for the future. However, in the past life, she was an orphan and after hearing the encouraging words of Sima Lai, she felt a warmth emanate from her heart. So this is how it felt like to have family. Within minutes of eating the bitter medicinal pill, The immense pain she previously had all disappeared, and within half an hour, all her injuries were fully healed. It was the first time she had experienced such a miraculous feat. This opened a whole new door of curiosity to this world she was now in. Grandfather, this stuff is simply amazing. Sima Yuyu's eyes sparkled as she sat up. She felt rejuvenated and full of life. Haha, yes, not bad at all. He chortled, nodding happily as he looked at her with an affectionate gaze. Sigh. If only someone from our family was an alchemist, then you wouldn't have had to suffer so long. Even getting this one pill took a bit of trouble. Don't we have some alchemists working for us? Sima Yuyu asked indignantly. Weren't they the general's residents? What were some mere medicinal pills to them? We have hired a few but only have stashes of the common grade tier 1 pills and only a handful of tier 2 pills. However, those tier 2 pills we possess are not meant for healing, which was why I had to go to Master Shi and specially request for that tier 2 pill from him. He looked apologetically at Sima Yuyu. Sorry, it's all my fault. Tisk, but if it wasn't for my fiery temper that caused a rift between our residents and the alchemists in the city, it wouldn't had taken such a long time. Sorry you had to bear such pain for so long. He looked down and said in a self-deprecating tone. Grandfather, please don't blame yourself. If you want to blame, it's all those alchemists' own fault for being annoying and unlikable. Since you do not like them, I also do not like them. If I do become an alchemist one day, I'll slap them in the face and show them what true alchemy is. Haha, well then, I shall be looking forward to that. He laughed in glee. However, none of them seemed to have remembered at that moment that one has to first be able to cultivate in order to be an alchemist. To concoct a pill, spiritual energy is used on the pill furnace, and an alchemist requires one to not only sense the spirit energy but to have excellent control over it as well. Sima Yuyu was not even able to sense a shred of energy, what more to fire a pill furnace with spiritual energy. Due to the effects of the medicinal pill her grandfather got for her, Sima Yuyu recovered quickly. The next morning, the curious and lively Sima Yuyu went out alone to explore the streets. Although she has memories of this place, she still wanted to see with her own eyes what this new world of intrigue was like. This world is really amazing. Sima Yuyu exclaimed in excitement. After visiting a couple of streets, she stopped in front of a shop which had on display a multitude of spirit beasts and gasped in shock when she saw one talking. Oh, is this not Fifth Young Master? Please come in, Fifth Young Master. What would you like today? We have a few new spirit beasts in store today. Would you like to have a look? A amiable shopkeeper stepped forward to warmly welcome her, evident that he was familiar with the Sima Yuyu. She quickly searched her memories for a moment and realized why that shopkeeper gave her such a warm welcome. Indeed, the Sima Yuyu before often patronized this store and bought spirit beasts and gifted them to various young masters around town to please them. Since she did that on a regular basis, she quickly became well acquainted with this shopkeeper. Fifth Young Master, please have a look at our latest arrivals. We have here a 5th low-ranked firefox. We also have a 6th low-ranked wind wolf. How is it? Quite good, aren't they? The storekeeper smiled as he introduced the spirit beasts that were locked up in the cages before them. Sima Yuyu looked at the wind wolf that looked back at her without a trace of life or emotion. Its fur was very full and glossy, something of high quality. Oh, I have no intention to buy anything as I didn't bring any money out with me today. Since I can't even establish any contract with any spirit beasts, why do I even need to buy one? Who did not know that the general residence's 5th young master was labeled as trash and could not establish any spirit link? How could he have any contracts with spirit beasts? To establish a contract, one must first have a spirit link stemming from the spirit master. Hence, whenever the 5th young master bought a spirit beast, it was always given away as a gift. However, for the shopkeeper, it didn't matter as long as he could make some business. If 5th young master likes it, you can bring the spirit beast back first and send someone to pay for it later. Oh, the last time young Master Morangan wanted a wind wolf but there was no stock then. You have to quickly act on this or else it's going to be sold out soon. The shopkeeper prattled on. If it was the Sima Yuyu before, she would definitely have bitten the bait and bought the wind wolf in a heartbeat. Anything that Morangan wanted, she would have no qualms about giving it to him no matter the cost. However, Sima Yuyu heard the words of the shopkeeper and simply replied, "Well, if I see him, I'll let him know." After which she turned and left the shop. Quote. For a few seconds the shopkeeper could not react. Only after she had left the shop did he touch his own forehead in stupor and muttered, "I don't have a fever, how am I hallucinating?" This Sima Yu not only heard Murong and wanted it, he simply just left without buying it. And so calmly at that. Did the sun rise from the west today? Sima Yu thought back of what just happened in the shop. Even a meager shopkeeper was using Murong An's name to sell a spirit beast to her. How well known was she for liking Murong An? Thinking back on the spirit wolf, she softly sighed again in amazement of this new magical world she now lived it. Although the previous Sima Yu could not cultivate, but because of Murong An, she did some homework and knew a thing of two about spirit beasts. This world has these spirit beasts and they ranked accordingly. Low rank, saint rank and divine rank. Low-ranked spirit beasts had a bit of intelligence and could understand some human words and respond to simple commands. However, a divine-ranked spirit beast was very intelligent and completely mastered the human language and converse proficiently. Spirit masters could establish a contract with spirit beasts through sharing a spirit link. However, because spirit beasts are caught from the wild, if they have not been tamed, their wild and frenzied spirit energy will try to take over the link, and this might make the cultivator incur a backlash instead. Beast tamers had the ability to temporarily stabilize and curb the innate wild and frenzied spiritual energy of these spirit beasts and calm them down. This would make the spirit beasts docile before establishing any contracts and reduce any risks of backlash. This was the main reason why beast tamers were very highly sought after. After establishing a contract with the spirit master, the spirit beast will regain back its ferociousness. However, due to the contract, they are not able to hurt their contracting spirit master. After strolling around the streets aimlessly for a period, Sima Yu decided to head back. As she was still thinking about the matters of a beast tamer, she did not pay attention to her surroundings and carelessly ran into a person head-on as she turned into a small alley. "Who the hell has no eyes? Asking for death," exclaimed a man who was clutching his head, fuming away. When his eyes laid to rest on Sima Yu, his lips curled up into a taunting smile. "So it's our infamous trash. How are you still alive? It seems that my punches were too light that time." Sima Yu was still dazed from the sudden collision, but when she looked up after hearing the other person's words, she narrowed her eyes. This person was none other than one of the lackeys that had a hand in beating her up that day. Since she had promised revenge for the previous Sima Yu, now, let's just start with this person in front.